Welcome back to the National Results Centre out here in Midrand. The numbers board finally up. The IEC having declared those numbers. The numbers board very active quite a short while ago, and I can tell you now it's still early stages of counting, with 0.2% of some of those votes in some of the smaller regions having been counted. Akin to, of course, some of the difficult challenges that has been faced by the IEC throughout the voting day. We have been monitoring, though, across the country some of those developments. Let's take you live now to SABC News reporter Nozintombi Mia. Nozintombi, a very good morning to you. You are out in Vleurhof in Johannesburg. So what is the latest on your side? We understand some of the snaking queues are literally starting to wind down.
Yeah, thank you so much, Alicia. It really is a wrap here at in Roodepoort. I mean, we've been to three different voting stations, and these were some of the voting stations that did have quite the long snaking queues that we'd seen earlier. And I'm counting about 4 hours after the polls had closed, we saw that this particular voting station, which I'm going to ask my camera colleague Herbert Mamela to show you, this voting station where we are at now is actually closing down. They've actually removed the boxes, they've packed the chairs, and it is the critical stage right now where the counting begins. Tired, triumphant, the volunteers, the staff from the IEC, the policing, the observers, the party candidates, all of the people that made their ways to the different voting stations, specifically in Florida, who had to deal with the excess number of people, who had to deal with people's frustrations and misunderstandings and miscommunications, can now finally breathe a slight sigh of relief, take a quick comfort break, and get on to the real hard work now of starting to count the numbers. There's 3 boxes there, 1 box for the national, 1 box for the regional, 1 box for the provincial. And these are where the numbers are going to be so important, and where people have cast their votes to decide who they want to lead. And some of the issues that had come out a little bit earlier, again, the issue of the 3 ballot boxes that had been dropped off at the Florida primary school unescorted, with nobody knowing what was going on, and with the IECPO at that particular station waiting for police to investigate so that they can remove the boxes, dispose of it, lending itself again to the issue of possible voter tampering, lending itself to the issue of possible fraud. That, again, an issue that the IEC needs to do a thorough investigation on. But in terms of the issue of the snaking queues, you could see actually that the staff here really tried their best to try and get people to get in and to get their votes. I mean, we stayed here till the very last person had voted, till their systems shut down, till they actually started putting away the chairs. So here from Florida, from Roodepoort, the issue of counting the numbers has just begun, and it is now really down to the wire for all the political parties that have done what they can to canvass and to campaign and to get the voters to cast their votes for their party. 2 very interesting points that came out when we spoke to the PO here, saying something very interesting, that it is unprecedented, the numbers that he saw of the public participation and the amount of people that had actually come here. And he was saying that not since 1994 did he see such an overwhelming number of people, community members, determined to cast their votes, determined to mark their vote, and determined to ensure that they make a vote for their party of choice. So not just the numbers really going up, reiterating what we're hearing in the press conferences and the press briefings from the IEC, there where you are, Alicia, at Rock, but also seeming to be a state that is mirrored in the different voting districts and in the different voting stations that we saw throughout the day yesterday. The second other important thing, he says that the level of voter education this time around for these 2024 elections, level of voter education seems to have really improved in quality, and people knew exactly what the ballots were, people knew why they were coming to vote, and it made the process a lot smoother, despite the technical glitches that have happened throughout the day, despite the delays, the long waits. Overall, a triumphant end to a day that the nation has been waiting for. Alicia. With that, myself, Nozintombi Mia, my camera colleague Herbert Memela, we hand back to you in studio, Alicia.
Thank you so much to SABC News reporter there, Nozintombi Mia. And as she said, they in Fluorof out in Florida, they have just wrapped up voting in that particular voting station. It seems like the general consensus today has been, of course, some of those technical issues that the IEC has also been addressing while they were, of course, giving us those updates as well as those briefings. As, of course, we've promised you, we are going to be crisscrossing live to the rest of the country where we have very suitable reporters representing us and, of course, catching all the live action at those polling stations.